Okay, so last night I was reading from chapter 11, I think it is, from the Fifth Sacred Thing, and my laptop died, and then I couldn't find the cord. It got switched with a friend of mine, so um, I got it today and was able to charge my laptop, so I can finish the recording for the chapter 12. So this is when Madrone and Bird were sitting on the bed, and Bird has accepted the fact that he's not going to the Southlands and is helping Madrone in how she's asking to be helped, which is they're having a discussion about fear. So Madrone says, "I'm scared to do the things you've done and go where you have been." Madrone said, "I'm scared to come back broken." There it was, he thought, the unspeakable thing that I felt hiding behind her kindness. She pities me, and she's afraid of becoming like me. No wonder I couldn't open up to her. But it's all out now. We've just got to let it go. I can't tell you everything's going to be all right, because that would be a lie," Bird said. "I don't know how it will be. I don't want you to tell me that. I want you to tell me something about fear. Everybody in this family is always so fucking brave. I feel like I'm a misfit." Bird laughed and held her tighter. "No, love, you're not a misfit. And I, for one, am not that brave. If I had known what was going to happen, I can't say I would have gone. I was young and dumb and thought I was just going to die, which seemed romantic and inevitable. But if you remember the times everyone was dying, todo el mundo, it seemed that way. All I can say is, it's not the fear that goes away, but that it changes. When something really bad is happening, it's just what's happening, so you face it, because in the moment, you don't really have a choice." "I guess I know that," Madrone said. "It's like going through a difficult birth. You can't stop it, so you just do it. But it's now, thinking about it beforehand, that's so hard. Weren't you scared before you went away?" "I was terrified. I don't want to die," Madrone said. "I wish you were going with me. I'm scared of being alone." "I will be with you, in spirit, as we like to say." Bird tightened his arm around her and bent his head low. "Not a moment of any day will go by when some part of me won't be with you." "I know." They clung together, and his body felt so sweet against hers that she didn't know how she could ever bring herself to let go. Finally he pulled back, kissing her lightly on the forehead. "I want to give you something to take with you," he said. "And I've thought and thought about it. Something you couldn't lose. Something nobody can take from you. So I've made you a little song." "Bird!" "I can't really play it for you, but come here." He took her hand and led her over to the bench beside the upright piano, which took up one wall. "Sit here and let me sing it." She sat beside him on the bench, knowing what this gift had cost him. Awkwardly his hands picked out very few key chords, a halting melody. He sang, his voice husky but still the true, resonant sound that she remembered. The song he had made her was a little piece of his own music, the music that came to him when he was almost dead and brought him back to life, the music that every now and then had given his own hands the power to heal. He could never do it justice, even when his hands had been whole and in the prime of their skill. At most, he could have played an echo of what he heard in his mind, and now all he could do was hint at the melody with stumbling notes and sing a little of it without words. He felt embarrassed, but when he stopped, she shook her head. "Don't stop, Bird. That's beautiful." He could see in her face that she was moved. He hoped not just with pity. "And now," he said, making himself smile, "you have to learn it, and then it'll be yours, and you can sing it as you hike down the coast, and when you're afraid, and if, Diosa, Madrone." He couldn't speak any more. All he could do was look at her and hold her. She was warm and alive and whole and in his arms. And when they were together like this, he could feel himself flowing out to her, feeding her and being fed in turn. How could he bear to believe that in a little while she'd be gone? "This is going to be a good week," he said. "We're just going to love each other and be good to each other and build up our memories. Memories are important. There's something you can hold on to." He was as good as his word. He dredged his mind for every scrap of information she might find useful, descriptions of places and names of people, stories, rumors, gossip, customs. Things came back to him that he'd forgotten, scraps of conversation overheard in the prison. The taste of moldy bread, thirst. During the day, while the others were working, they rode gondolas around the city, laughing together, walking on the sea dikes and climbing the green hills. They went to the ceremonies of the Ohlone and Miwok and Pomo tribes, who came down to the city in the autumn to offer their ancient dances as gifts. He let her massage him, digging her strong fingers into his sore ligaments. He let her questions dig into the sore places in his soul. "Hi, Emily." At night, because he knew it would please her, he opened the piano and struggled to play, although it hurt him more than he could express. In his mind, his hands were fluid expression of what he heard inside of himself. Now they were clumsy, like bundles of rags tied to sticks, thumping and crashing out a few broken chords. Nevertheless, he kept on. He sang because he understood that what she really needed from him was to know how to face the unfaceable, and he could only give her that knowledge by example. And she sat, watching him, hearing the power in his awkward banging music, loving him so much she could hardly bear to breathe. Much to his surprise, Bird began to notice his playing improve. It was still rough, but not quite as rough. There were movements he could make that he couldn't before. When no one was around, he tried scales, simple runs. He would never be the musician he once was, but still there existed the possibility that he could improve enough to let music be his vehicle. With the thought came a new dimension of fear. He had no surety that with all the work in the world he could become even that good, yet he had no excuse not to try. They made love most of the night, but when the blue light of morning came, the others slipped out, leaving Bird and Madrone alone. She clung to him, not intending to arouse him, but just to look into his eyes, feel the precise curve of his cheeks over the bone, and the soft, wiry curls of his new-grown beard. And then he was hard against her, and she drew him into her, wanting only to lie still and be filled with him and remember him. But there was so much love in his eyes that she shuddered under him, drinking him in. "What are you going to do when I'm gone?" she asked when they were through. "I'll be a good boy," Bird said. "I'm going to let Sam knock me apart and put me back together again. I'll play my scales. I'll tell cheerful lies to Maya. We might never see each other again. We might not ever be in each other like this again," Madrone whispered. "We'll see each other. Alive or dead, if I die first, I'll haunt you." "It's not the same," Madrone said. "I'm giving you 6 months," Bird said. "After that, I don't care if I'm in 6 different pieces and the whole Steward's army is encamped in our greenhouse. I'm coming down to get you if I have to crawl." She left in the morning on the back of a wagon, heading back south from the weekly market. Maya had said her goodbyes in the house, too upset to speak much. She cut Madrone's head between her hands, looked long and deep into her eyes, memorizing them, and then let her go. Bird and Sage and Nita and Holy Bear walked down with her to the market and watched as the wagon lumbered down the old freeway until it disappeared in the distance. Then they accompanied Bird to the hospital. "Okay, Sam," he said. "Do your dirty work. I'm yours now. Okay, that was chapter 11. Drone's going to the Southlands.